Ready, set,
Man.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Duocast. I'm Marksman here with CeeJ.
Hey, guys.
All right, so we got a lot to talk about. First matches were played this past weekend. All very good. It was exciting to see the game. I'm sure you feel the same way.
Definitely a lot of interesting things happened over the weekend.
Oh yeah, the pros gameplay compared to what we've been dealing with. It was cool to see how they're playing it and all that. So, I figure we might as well just get right into it. LA Thieves looked really dominant. They gotta win Major 1, right? I think that's what everyone's thinking right now.
I mean, I think that's general consensus, but I do see some glaring struggles or weaknesses in their game. So I think they are the main contender, though.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. Just watching them play, like that first match, I'm like, definitely. But FaZe, I think I see a lot of what I'm personally worried about with the team. A little bit of leadership issues. Maybe that's not what's the main cause of some of this issues, but you see they'll lose a lot of momentum in a search and destroy, for instance. Once things start going the opposite way, you saw that with the Cloud9 search. FaZe almost was able to do that to them a couple times. I don't think they're bad or anything. Like, that's not my point. I just think they're going to be a swingy team, if that makes sense. I think they're going to go a lot off emotion, kind of like Optic as well. But I kind of noticed that this first weekend.
Well, they kind of remind me a lot. Like, so people compare this game to AW in a lot of ways. And if I were to compare them to like a team from back then, I compare them to the Optic team back then, just because like how they play the Surge is very similar. They're just trying to run and gun. It feels like instead of really just that slow, methodical, occasional route taking kind of game that you typically see these days.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much like about how Optic played in AW, just because I've only watched matches like retroactively and stuff. But I think that's kind of what Optic's issue was towards the end of last year as well, is they were used to that working, and then they kind of needed to take that step back. Because you look at their Major 3 win, I think a lot of people, once the champs is over, we don't look at this much, but I've been editing that Dashi series, and Major 3 was like, they were just playing really well with each other. I think champs, they locked in the fundamentals as well on top of that, because Major 3 seemed to be more like they just had the momentum. They were like raw, just better than everyone else. Where champs, they kind of locked in the fundamentals. I think that's how Thieves is going to have to be a little bit this year. I think they're going to start off hot, and they're going to have to make sure they don't just ride momentum and they're actually maintaining fundamentals, because I think that's the only way they fall off middle year here. Not saying they're going to win anything, even playing at or everything playing at their best, but I think that's probably they're going to be their biggest struggle through the year, especially with Optic and FaZe not going anywhere. Toronto looks much better than I think everyone thought. Rocker looked good. I'll take that, as I kind of thought they would look good as well. But yeah, so I don't think they're going to be. I think there'll still be competition, but starting off the year, I can see them just bulldozing Major 1. So I wouldn't be shocked.
Oh, definitely.
Especially with Scrap's history. I mean, he won last Major 1 as well. So.
Well, they also have probably the most talented roster. I'd say out of all the teams.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I think they're kind of just running gun, have so much confidence. Yeah,
I might disagree as far as most talented, but because I mean, Optic didn't get any worse. I'll be honest.
No, they didn't.
I know what you mean. But I think Optic matches up okay with LA Thieves as long as they're all playing pretty good. I know Kenny had a bit of a rough one against Boston. And he's known to do that. But yeah, I'd say Thieves probably, if you wanted to build a dream team after last year, they're definitely it. I mean, there's no argument there.
Oh yeah. Well, the surprise for them was Envoy. I don't think hardly anybody likely expected Envoy to be nearly as good, and I think that's one of the main underlying reasons that they're doing so well.
Yeah, Envoy's been really good, and I think he's gonna have to be. He was really good the start of last year as well. Ghosty's really solid. And I think they're gonna have to carry the weight and just take it off of Hydra and Scrap so they can do what they brought there to do. And like I said, so far so good. So yeah, I mean, I can see them winning Major 1. I don't see why they wouldn't be the favorite unless the next few weeks of qualifiers goes bad. I'm excited to see what the minor is all about. Like, I know it's a single limb, but who's gonna win that? Since that's coming up before the major, and kind of seeing if that affects anything roster wise or momentum wise going into a tournament, because you never know. Like when you add something new like that in there.
Oh, definitely. Sorry for this interruption. We'd like to take a minute to thank our sponsor, the New Century Entertainment Network, a new wave of entertainment that follows the newest innovations out there, including esports. View their channel to see groundbreaking documentaries, clips from our show, with much more on the way.
All right, let's get into the next topic. Did FaZe fall off, or is it just a tough start? Obviously teams have started slow in the past. 0-2 is probably the worst this roster trio, whatever, has started. So, what do you think? Tough start or a full fall off?
I think it's closer to just a tough start, mainly due to just looking at the matchups they've had so far. Everybody's saying LAT's the favorite. They managed to make it out of Game 5. They bring that hardpoint was a clincher though. For the Game 4. And then Ultra, I think Ultra just had a clinic on FaZe that time around.
Yeah, I don't think anyone was prepared for Ultra to be this good, at least. And that's partly why I think FaZe kind of has fallen off in a more significant way. I kind of said before the season, I think they're going to take a step back. I see them kind of being a little more Vanguard-ish, like still good. I mean, there's no way these guys are placing terrible.
No.
Like I see them less dominant of a Vanguard season, kind of in and out of grand finals, not really winning anything. I guess maybe like an Optic in MW2, just kind of there but not. Just because,
right?
I think they got a lot more issues than they were kind of prepared for. Just because they won EWC. I think a lot of what I saw in champs that kind of led to them falling off still there. Which, like I said, I think it's all fixable, but I just don't know how much this roster can change after what we've seen for, I don't know, 3 years now. I mean, flip an AR here and there, but they've kind of...
It's been since Vanguard, pretty much.
They've kind of struggled consistently with, they'll be consistent for a lot of the year, but if they're not even that, then I don't see what they're gonna be able to do. I don't know if they'll make a roster change. They might, but like I said, I think it's a little more of a fall off than tough start, because I think the same kind of problems are gonna persist through the year. Not saying they may win a major, they may not be bad. Like obviously, don't expect them to be bad, but I do think they're kind of on that downward trend from that we saw in champs the last year.
Well, do you think the league has just gotten more competitive since the Cold War season?
Well, I'm not basing this off Cold War either. I'm kind of saying I definitely has, but I'm kind of saying I think that this is like what we noticed last year towards the end of the year.
We did.
I just don't think this roster is gonna gel quite as well. Dealing with some of these issues. And yeah, I mean, I like to see the league more competitive, and I'd like to see FaZe, maybe suffer a little bit of what Optic had, when they were struggling, and not
For a
make a
while.
championship Sunday for once. Other than I mean, last tournament in CDL they didn't. It was champs. Went
Yeah.
out top 6, so maybe they will. But like I said, I don't think that they're gonna be like bottom team. But I think they're
Right.
gonna be more on the outside, looking in on the top teams this year. They may reach that and then fall back off. I just don't see that consistency. Like I said, I honestly wouldn't be shocked. I don't know who else they play this weekend outside of Falcons, but I'm pretty sure
Right.
it was somebody pretty solid, maybe Rocker. Wouldn't be surprised if they lost to Rocker, personally, if that is who they play. But that level team, I think they can lose to them, and I think they can beat them as well. I just think that's kind of how they're going to be this year. Whereas the other years, I mean, if they weren't playing Toronto or Optic or LA when they were better, they were winning. Everyone knew it. So I think this year there's going to be a little more competitive for everyone who hasn't been able to beat FaZe, in a while. So we'll see.
I could see that.
But yeah, I mean, they had a tough weekend. You could see a little bit more life. I thought they were getting 3-0'd by Thieves, so I think it was good for them to show that life because it was looking pretty grim. If they get 3-0'd by Thieves and lose to Ultra the way they did, I mean, Ultra kind of handled them. Let's be real.
Yeah. That was a reverse sweep after the game 1.
Yeah, I mean, the FaZe were out of it after that first game. I mean, they slammed them that first map, but it was just that was all they had apparently. And yeah, I mean, lose a tough one to Thieves. I think it's a little. I'll be intrigued to see how they bounce back and if they make a change. I don't think they've ever really made a change mid-season, obviously, in CDL, but I mean, they've only been bad a couple times. In Call of Duty. Obviously, there was a lot more roster changes back then because seasons were longer. But yeah, I'll be interested to see. But I think it's fair either way you look at it. So, and if you're a FaZe fan, I mean, I know you guys haven't been winning as much as you used to, so I don't want to rub it in too much. But that's kind of how everyone else is. You lose games too. So
yeah.
Have fun with that. All right, so the kind of big drama going on this weekend outside of the main games. I mean, obviously, Optic lost to Boston, but it didn't seem to be like a real thing. Just a little bit of a slow start, which is fine. They usually do lose their first match. But Cloud9 went 0-2. Tough schedule, but apparently tougher server issues. So there's a lot to kind of go into on this, but we're going to try to keep it basic, just give the information. And I don't know. I think this is a larger issue than just Cloud9. So that's kind of why we wanted to talk about it. But yeah, they went 0-2, and some would say a little bit of that was due to server issues. What do you think?
I mean, I think it's definitely a portion of why they lost. But it definitely wasn't the entire reason. I think they would have lost to both matches anyways, but I do think they would have put up more of a competition. Especially considering the talent that they do have. But yeah, from my understanding, the team New York were checked out before they even got into those matches. So.
Yeah, and the larger debate is, what can the league do? Should the league deal with this? Is it their problem or is it Cloud9's problem? I know you kind of lean more that it's the league's problem. Um,
It's both, but
yeah, it's definitely both. But
yeah, I lean more on the league, not as well more towards uh, league slash Activision, um, just because of servers. That's a whole debate right there, and how certain things are also handled by the league.
yeah, so you just think they should have more servers, and it wouldn't be a problem anyway. Which I think is fair.
Either that or just update the servers.
Yeah.
Just they don't.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. I think while the league should have better servers, everyone. I mean, it's been like this since online COD started. I think if you're a team called Cloud9 New York and you're in LA and it's an online league where everyone's in Dallas, I mean, you can only blame the league so much. I know you can't like really expect teams to move exactly where they're supposed to be, which is fine, and I don't really expect that. But I mean, you're a new team, you know, kind of what the deal is. Thieves just moved to Texas because of these issues, so I just don't get why you in LA are like, what? There's server issues? Like, I mean,
Right.
come on, guys. Thieves have been complaining about this every year, and I just don't think it's a valid excuse.
Well, it's also been a thing since even before, even back in the CWL, like you had the whole optic issue back in the World War II when, say, Scump was out in Cali, and the rest of that team wanted Scump in Texas so that they could have better internet connection because Scump was apparently lagging in all their scrims and just teleporting.
I think Scump was just using that as a preemptive excuse because he was so bad at World War II.
Probably, who knows?
But yeah, I mean, fix the servers is definitely a thing that would make sense if you're not gonna go back to a LAN league. But also, Cloud9, I mean, come on, what do you do? I mean, you're costing your own team that you just spent all this money to get. You got a new fancy logo and jerseys and all that. Why don't you just go ahead and have a facility in Texas? But at this point, maybe a little bit too late. But now you kind of set yourself up to be at the mercy of the league, which we know chronically wants to do nothing about all issues involving the league. So, I think you kind of chalked some of your season there. But at the same time, I still like the roster. I thought Mac played better than I was anticipating. Obviously, everyone else did pretty solid, so they should bounce back. I don't know how much they can win online, but I think they'll be pretty solid on LAN. And just hopefully the whole online thing isn't gonna do too much damage to their qualifications for majors, because that would be really disappointing.
I mean, on that note, from what I'm hearing, like what I've heard from like Attach and Lamar talking, they were talking about how Cloud9, the main owners of New York, they went up to the players and told them that they will not let this happen again, no matter what they have to do, even if it means relocating. So there is a chance they do move to Texas.
Well, that's a good sign. I mean, if they can move there before Major 2, like I said, it just seems like a weird thing to start off in LA. But I mean, I'm glad ownership cares, because you see that a lot in the league where a lot of these owners just do not care about what they're investing in. So that's good to hear. Obviously Cloud9, everyone knows, kind of a solid org. So yeah, that's good to hear. With that said, I mean, I think they are a solid roster, probably fourth best, maybe even sixth best, based on this weekend.
Yeah.
I think if even on LAN, I think they match up with Toronto, Rocker, even Carolina, which we're going to talk about this. They match up this weekend. I think that's a pretty balanced game, because I just don't think they have quite the dominant slaying as most everyone else around them. So they're gonna have to play fundamentally sound and be on their game, which I think attaches a good guy on the roster to have to kind of make sure that happens. So
Agreed.
all right, well, I mean, that's pretty much all we can say on that. It is I, Marksman, here to interrupt the program once again, but this time we have a special look at New Century Entertainment Network's exclusive Motion.
3 for 1 though, Thieves. Cooking up a little bit of a shot C off the off spawn. Comes through unpredicted and reduces it just down to Joe Deceives. Semtex toss, but
on the south side of the map, and they are getting absolutely fine.
Look,
over
they
here.
said that I couldn't do it, so I went and
That's a small victory.
W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, I've been on a what? Mission. Go. Okay, let's get it. Got a little time on my hands like a wristwatch. I don't got time for the brakes and a pit stop. Race through the gridlock, take it like Chris Rock. Right to the chin, still win. Heavy metals like Slipknot. Got the driving, I got tunnel vision. I just hit my stride the way I burn the business. I've been making paper like I'm done to mifflin. See the end game, I got one division. Look, I don't ever bother with a critic. Hit him with a chronicle of Riddick. Boom, bottle full of Ritalin. I hit him with a little bit of riddle me this, riddle me that. My bad, fell asleep at the gas. No time to wait though. Elon Musk, I'm trying to bankroll. New Tesla just cause I say so. Electric whip like Ivan Van Gogh. I just did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, I've been on a mission. Okay, let's get it.
I've been on a mission like totally spice. En my baddie, she bad, but she totally nice. Die was op blue en het doos wil ik white. Ik compete niet met jou, dat is zo voor mijn lijk. He knew it for sure, but he left with a why. Yeah, we live, but we destined to die. 100 zeden om mij, but I man, then I lie, I'm a lie. En ik voel me net nervous te paaien. En ik jaag op de cold in de scene. Ik moest eigenlijk rennen, we lopen misschien. En ik wil niet eens kijken, mijn ogen die zien. En ze reden niet genoeg dat ik koop op het team. Proef in de been. Hier co-star, I got 5 on my name, I got no star. To me, just to see how my shoes are.
They said that I couldn't do it, so I went and did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, I've been on a what? Mission. Go. Okay, let's get it.
All right. That looks good. Can't wait to see that when it comes out. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel over at New Century Entertainment Network, and you won't miss a thing. Now let's get back right to the show. We're going to go into our predictions. Obviously, we got 4 matches tomorrow for the Sunday slate. All pretty solid, except maybe the rough end of the night, but hey.
Yeah.
Everyone can watch Sunday Night Football then. So, my first pick, I got LAT, Minnesota Rocker. I have it 3-2 map count. I think it's going to be closer than people think. I honestly think Rocker's going to take a search and probably the control. Because honestly, Thieves didn't look crazy dominant on control or anything, personally. Or search. I think Rocker's good enough to take 2 maps. And mostly just because I don't think Thieves are going to go into it as much as, like, you know, they played New York and FaZe. They're probably like, it's just Rocker. So I think there's this chance, but not enough of a chance for them to win. It's online COD, so we'll see. I have Carolina beating New York 3-2. I think Carolina has a lot going for them on top of Cloud9 server issues. I like Gwyn. He's playing really good at this game. TJ Halley also playing really solid right now, which is something I don't know if a lot of people had. Vivid is a good AR. Who would have thought? I like that they put him on AR to balance out Slasher's slowness. Slasher also played really well. More slaying than I think they were really looking for from him. FaZe is going to slam Falcons. I think FaZe got a little bit of issues, but I mean, let's be real. The Falcons team, it's fun and all, but I mean, that's just 4 roster spots that are just for nothing. It's unfortunate, but you know, nobody wants them to be bad, but it's just like they are bad. Then you got Toronto versus Heretics. Got a 3-1. I'm giving Spawn Heretics a map just because I don't think Ultra's that dominant. But I do think Heretics is kind of bad. They did put up a fight against Vancouver, but we don't really know a whole lot about what Surge is going to be this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of iffy on them, so I think 3-1's fair. Yeah, so that's what I got. Let's go ahead and see what you got.
So, for the LA Thieves versus Minnesota Rocker, I got 3-1 towards LA Thieves. I do think Search is a blaring weakness for the Thieves at the moment, which Rocker seem to be pretty solid at. They are getting consistent round 11 wins on Search as well, even against teams that you would predict to be pretty decent at Search. And then for the Carolina Ravens and the New York Cloud9, I have 3-2 for New York. They kind of really need a redemption. I'm looking for them to do that. I believe they would know what they're getting themselves into this coming up weekend, and they're probably going to be more prepared for it. So I could see them getting 3-2. FaZe, easy 3-0. I would like to see how Khalid does against FaZe. That's the only thing I'd really be looking at for that match. Yeah. And then Ultra, I have 3-0 versus Heretics. So.
Enough said on Ultra.
Pretty much. Yeah, I mean, I could see Heretics getting one, but I think Ultra are looking really solid as far as their pacing. I think Insight's kind of coming back and starting to come back into form. Beans is really solid. Kleenex is going to be Kleenex. And then, yeah, Jodeci's, and that's going to be their X factor going into this matchup.
Joe to X.
Just because, yeah, because I think the Heretics have a really solid SMG duo. So that's,
yeah, I mean,
and then might get the Heretics 1 or 2 map wins, but I am leaning towards 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, our only real disagreements on Carolina, and I think valid either way. I mean, I was kind of in between, but I think I'm a little higher on this Carolina roster than most. So
I'm high on Carolina too. I loved what I saw from them. I'm just looking for New York to come out swinging.
I loved what I saw from Win there, and you know, with me about to be working on this motion series with him in it, I'm like, this is nice. If he kind of fell off this year, it would have been a pain. But yeah, I mean, I think our predictions are solid, and maybe we'll do. Obviously, we'll do a little bit of accounting on what we pick for like major bracket predictions and all that. But maybe we'll keep a record or something of how we're doing.
That'd be nice.
We'll see. It depends on if it's something we want to bring into the show. But I think we're good, and thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, all the fun stuff, and yeah, we'll be back to you with another episode in 2 weeks, I think, maybe.
Yeah, 2 weeks because of the 3-week break for the CDL.
Yeah, because there is the break. We might do a holiday special. Who knows? We'll see. Stick around, and we'll see you in the next one.